Welcome back, legends. What's going on? My name's Kurt Rosie. This is Supreme TV, and tonight I'm going to show you 3 websites that you need to use on your iRacing journey. Let's get into it. Firstly, I just want to thank you guys. Obviously, it's been a little bit since I've done a video like this, but I really want to thank you. Heaps of people have been watching the must-have apps for iRacing, so I'm hoping that this video can also be very helpful. Planning on doing a few of these, but also just going to do a whole bunch more tips and tricks because I feel like I've got all this knowledge up here that I need to get out. So if you find it helpful, let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that jazz. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing that I use on a regular basis is a website called SimRacingstats.com. This website has every single series and the participation data for that week. So if you can see here, we're in week 5 of season 3 in 2023. And you can see, obviously, because the Spa 24 hour is coming up, you can see that this one has the most amount of participation so far. The first number is the average number of like people that are entering, and the average number of splits. So that's the second number. And then the max is the max amount of people and the max amount of splits that they've had this week. So IMSA, you click on the track and it will bring up some more information here. A little bit of like typical conditions, which I find really, really helpful if you're trying to practice for the week, if you don't have official practices. Now, this data is obviously based on real data that's already happened. So you're obviously not going to get anything for something that hasn't had a split or a race that's already run. So IMSA is quite a popular series. Obviously that goes official every single session. So you can see weather conditions, and then this bar here, you can adjust based on iRating. So, you know, if you want to aim for about a 3K iRating time, you can filter that down to 3K, and then it's going to give you information based on 3K iRating drivers. So you can see here, the 3K quali lap was a 2:05.2. This is for the LMP2. The fastest lap, I believe that's in the race, was a 2:06.1, and then the average lap is a 2:09.7. So the way I like to use this is, and you know, people are different. I like to look at this from the average lap and see if I can consistently do about that time. And then I feel comfortable enough that I can race that combo, whether it's a track that I haven't really raced before. I try and get within that range of a couple of seconds. So yeah, you can also, from here, you can see the splits of each session. If you click on these, they'll go to the iRacing website, and you can see even more detail from the iRacing members site. Given that this is a multi-class series, it's got each class here. So what's interesting is obviously these two are, well, GTP's got 2 cars, but the GT3 class here, you can see that it gives you comparison times to each car. Now, a good way to check what the popular car is how many people have driven it. This week, you can see that currently the BMW is the most popular car at Spa, and that is because the quali lap, the fast lap, and the average lap has been the fastest all week. And then all other cars will have time delta compared to the fastest car. The split times are all in your time zone. So that's a nice feature that they brought in. And of course, you can look at road, oval, you can look at previous weeks here, and a little bit more information in the about section too. Okay, the second thing that you need to use, especially when you're starting out with iRacing, is the iRacing Buyer's Guide. Now, this website has so much useful information about car and track combos, and even start dates, lengths of races, and also has some pretty unique tools to any other website that I've seen. So you can see here, I've got a few series set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this in a different window so you guys can see what it looks like for the first time, without any previous data in there. So I haven't selected any series here. Obviously there's some ads in here to help this place run. What you need to do is go to all series, and then you can filter out what series you want to do. So let's say you're making the transition from rookie road. So let's filter by road. And then you want to go from rookie road into D class. Let's say you want to start doing the GT4 fixed. All right, so let's add that to my series. Now we can click back up the top here to my series, and it's telling me that because I haven't bought any other tracks besides the free tracks, that I don't own this track for this week. So it's Zandvoort, obviously not a free track. You can see here the completed races, so they were the previous races for the last few weeks, and then the upcoming races too. Now the green means that I own that track. Obviously that's a free track. So what you can do is up the top here, under my tracks, you can go to, let's find Zandvoort. There's Zandvoort there, hit save. And now it refreshes and I've got Zandvoort. So that's a really handy tool to see what content you should be buying if you want to stick to a series, which is my recommendation. I would stick to a series, especially early on, pick sort of one car and then buy tracks. Tracks are by far the most beneficial content to purchase. And websites like this really help you work out what tracks are popular. So we can go to tracks up the top here and we can see times ran this season. So we filter by how many times that track has run this season. So Road America is by far the most popular track, and to be honest, a fantastic track at that. So that's probably part of the reason why it's run 30 times. But you can see that it's so beneficial for you to buy Road America because it's used in 30 different races this season, just this season. So that can definitely help you in terms of which tracks you should be buying. You can also do this with cars. Cars is the same thing. You can see number of series used. The M4 GT3 is the most used car on iRacing. I think that's because they have like a BMW Sim Cup and things like that. But you can see obviously the Ferrari GT3 is also used 7 different times because there's Ferrari Fixed, there's IMSA, there's VRS, there's GT3 Fixed. So you can see that, you know, these cars you're definitely getting your money's worth. When you look the other way around, obviously there's some that have none. But you can see here, like let's say the Indy Pro 2000, it's only used in one series. So whilst yes, you might like that car, you're not getting your money's worth. And that's where this really comes in handy. Now, something that's just recently come up is season matrix. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add in a couple of more series. So I'm gonna do, let's continue with this D-class fixed thing. So let's go Touring Car Challenge and the F4. So let's go back to my series. You can see now these are all populated. This is the current week. And then you can see I own Laguna, I don't own Knock Hill. So what you can do is use this season matrix tool, which will now give you, so it's got the weeks down the side here and then your series up the top here. So you can see that Laguna is used just in that one series. But you can see Alton Park is used here for F4 and also here for the GT4 fixed. VIR is obviously a free track, so they try to include a couple of free tracks in the D-class series. You can see here Okayama's a free track, Lime Rock's free, VIR is free. But as you can see, so Road America, that one we were talking about, is super popular. You can see here, it appears here, there, and there. So you can see that across the spread of the 3 different series that you want to do, that track appears in all 3. There's a few other things you can do in this site. It's very handy. It's all free, and the guy just runs ads on the sides, as you can see, to try and cover the cost of it. It almost went under a long time ago, but thankfully he's managed to save it. I think it was when he introduced the ads that helps. You can also compare series. So let's say Rookie 1600 and the Formula V. So we can compare here, and then we can just see Okayama is in both those series, Lime Rock's in both those series, VIR is in both those series, Charlotte, Oran Park. So yeah, it shows you the crossover between the two, which is really good. It's also got a dark mode too for those people who don't like the blinding white. So that's great. The third and final one, and I've mentioned this one before, it's the Garage 61 app. This is a website that captures the telemetry from iRacing and then shoots it across to a website that you can then use to analyze. You can look at fuel data, you can look at times, lap times, track data, like where on the track you're fast, where on the track you're slow. Compare it to other people. You can compare it to really, really fast people that use this. And of course, teammates as well. You can compare to teammates. I've already set it up. I've logged in. This is the sort of dashboard page. These are all my recent activities. So you can see I've been doing a little bit of practice for the Spa 24. So let's go into this one here. So this is the latest one. So obviously, before you get to this point, you need to download the telemetry app. I think it's a telemetry app, and that will run every time that you log into iRacing and capture the data and send it through to the site. So we're in the overview section. So we're going to go into, let's say, the Porsche. So You may have had a few different sessions. Sometimes, let me see if I can find an example. So this one here, we obviously had some practice and then there was the race session, but it was so close together that they just sort of clump it in together. So this one here, this was a hosted session. It'll give you fastest lap that you did. You can rank that against other people on Garage 61 as well. You can see your average clean lap, tells you how many clean laps you had. This one was not great for me. I had a lot of off tracks. It's got the practice weather sessions, which is really helpful, especially when you're trying to compare things. You can notice a drastic difference between just 10 degrees on the track as well. It'll give you ghost laps and best laps times. It'll even give you optimal lap there too, which is great. You can export this data to a spreadsheet too, which is kind of cool if you want to spin your own stuff up. So then it breaks down by stint. So this was run 1, and then I've got it run 2 here, which was just an out lap it looked like, and I think I binned it. So you can see it's got pit out, then it gives you your lap times here, whether or not you had an off track. I think it does yellow flags as well during a race. And it also definitely does blue flags too. If we look back at my Watkins Glen 6 hour, yes, it would be this one here with the millions of laps. So you can see there was practice, then there was qualifying, and then this is the race. So huge amount of laps, like we did 187-ish laps. But what you can see from this is obviously green flags, but then you can see blue flags off track. So yes, you can see yellow flags too. It shows you meatballs too if you get a meatball. And also what we can get into here is the sectors. So it'll give you sectors, green and purple. Missed opportunity here. I did 3 purple sectors in my first lap and then only 2 in the second one. So definitely some time I could have gained. It'll give you your pit stop time, and you can see here we stopped for 42 seconds, we added this much fuel, there was a driver change at the time. And what we can then do as well is see things like fuel used, so 2.99 liters for that fastest lap, 3.04 liters for that fastest lap in there. It'll also give us a average fuel consumption up here, but I'm pretty sure that's based on every single lap that's in this. So if we've got 193 laps in this whole session, it's going to give us an average of all of that. So just be wary of that in case you have laps like this one here where I did probably half a lap. Oh, it was an in and out lap. I must have had an accident or something like that. You can also see the setup that you're running as well. It's good for if you're testing different setups. We'll dive into that a little bit later. But then the big thing here is analyze. So it looks like this was one of my fastest times for Watkins Glen. So 45.2. But what we do is we click analyze, and it's going to give us a map of the track. It's going to give us our time here. Down the bottom is the sectors. So you can see that. These columns here, whilst they look a little bit daunting, it's really not. I'm going to quickly go through it because it's super beneficial just to compare to someone who's slightly faster than you and go, oh, that's all I need to do there to be half a second quicker. So the first one is speed. Second one is throttle. So you can see here, you let off the throttle and then blipping as you go down. The third one is brake, which will also give you when the ABS is kicked in. So that's cool to see. Fourth is the gear. And the last one is steering wheel angle. So this page is the driving style page. Now, when I go through this, I'm just going to hide my camera so you can see. I go to this little section down here and I hit compare, go add laps. So this is going to bring up a massive list of all of the people who in the current season set a personal best at Watkins Glen. I like to double check the fuel levels and the track temperature so that I'm comparing to someone that is in a similar situation that I am. So fuel level looks like around about 10 liters is probably like the qualifying fuel, which we were in a qualifying session. And track temp was actually quite hot. So I think it was around 30 something degrees. So I'm going to look at this. Well, I can't look at this one because some people tend to lock this. Now, these people could be coaches or something like that, and they just don't want to give out their information. But then there are people like this lovely person here, Philip Ansell, who has allowed people to compare to his lap time. There's a few other things down here, like people like this guy here. He also has his setup available. There is a fantastic feature that you can sync that setup to your account and it will then automatically download into your iRacing setups. Garage 61 does tend to hide those that are using paid setups. So it works it out based on the file name. So like VRS or GNG will get hidden because obviously that's just, you're getting paid stuff for free. You can also filter, by me. So if I've done a different session, maybe earlier on in the season, teammates, which is also good too. We'll go into teams in a little bit, but we're just going to look at this guy's time. So Philip Ansell did a 42.8. So my goodness, was he much quicker than me. I tend to make this the reference lap. So I just set as reference lap and then we hit analyze selection. So you can see here, Philip is the red one and I am the blue one. This big scary bar down here is how much time I'm losing over the entire lap. Probably the biggest one is, I would say, from like here to here. If we click and drag, we can actually, we click and drag, we can actually select the whole section where I struggle the most. And it will show us down here on the sector where that is. So then I do like to make it a little bit more simple and just look at it per sector. So we can see this sector here is that sort of big looping S, right? You can see that he's carrying more speed into here, which means that either I was worse out of the last corner, which there's a good chance because I'm pretty sure it's that upwards right-hander. He's probably gotten a little bit more speed. You can see here, we both let off at about the same time in terms of throttle, but he brakes a little bit harder and a little bit later, but then the trailing off as well. It looks like he's hitting ABS a little bit later than I am, so I'm probably braking too early, maybe. I think that's possibly what's happening there. And also, as you can see, I'm changing down gears just slightly earlier than he is, so that could also contribute to that. But then also, I am getting on the gas far later than he is. You can see here, so it's almost 50 meters later I'm getting on the gas and changing up the gears too late, coming around into this little section here. So these things can really change the way you drive. Even just looking at this section here, he gets off the throttle later coming into this curve here. So he gets off the gas just a fraction later, blips down later than me. He's actually on the ABS there too. And I don't touch the ABS almost at all. His trail braking is a little bit longer than mine, so he can get through the corner a bit better. And then he's quicker onto the gas, which just gives him, in that whole sector, you're looking at from 1.4 to 2. So half a second difference just in this section right here. So it's super valuable, this tool, and I still cannot believe that it's free. It blows my mind. So get into there because I can't see this being free forever. There's just no way. The other thing you can look at from here, so we can compare setups as well. It looks like we were probably using the same setup. Oh, he's not showing his setup. So I can't compare him to that. But if there was changes, it would show you what changes are made here. So that's great. Now you can do this for literally any car and track combination. Any of them will work. Incredibly valuable to my driving and elevating my skills, that's for sure. Setups as well, you can manage and share your setups with team in here. Speaking of teams, you can create a team or you can join a team. Feel free, I'm going to put my Discord link in the description below. If you want to join the Gaming Misfits, there's a bunch of us that are on there, and it's good to compare times to other people. And if you've got a setup that you've made yourself and you're happy to share it with people, it just goes a long way. It's very community based. So that's pretty much all I have. These tools have been super helpful for me in my iRacing career. I'm going to do more of these videos. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to hear. I think I'm going to do something about fuel and fuel saving and pit strategy next. I think that's going to be really helpful for people because that was something I still try to wrap my head around now. I think it's critical for getting the most out of those longer races, the IMSAs, the VRS GT sprints, and even enduros. You can run a 12-hour enduro, but that last pit stop, if you haven't got the right amount of fuel, you may have to come in and splash and dash. So managing that throughout the race is going to be beneficial for you. Like I said at the start, and I don't want to harp on about it, but thank you again. If you subscribe, that would be fantastic. Come and check me out on Twitch. I'm live every Monday and Thursday Australian time. We do a lot of GT3, but we do a lot of F1 as well. F1's been so much fun doing the GP tour. Appreciate it, guys. Take it easy, and if it's easy, then take it. Peace.